And when you're ready.
Okay. I will now call to order the study session meeting of August 23rd, 2021. Members of the public are invited to attend in-person city council meetings in council chambers on the lower level of City Hall. Public access to tonight's meeting is also available on the Local Government Access Channel 8 for Comcast subscribers, on the city's YouTube channel online, and by telephone using the call-in numbers posted on the meeting agenda. Joanna, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Leidy.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford.
Here.
Councilmember Whitkovich.
Here.
Councilmember Peterson will be absent. Councilmember Downing.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Goff.
Here.
Councilmember Duran Malika.
Present.
Councilmember Lukman Hiramasa.
Here. All right, thank you. So for our study session tonight, we have one agenda item, the American Rescue Plan Act. Jason Loveland, our Director of Finance, is here to present. Hello.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me tonight. So we're going to touch on staff recommendations of the use of the $9.8 million allocated to us from Arpa funds. We had come forward and gave a pretty broad overview of what Arpa was July 19th. And made a recommendation at that time at a broad, high level of, allocating about 10% of the funds for, more immediate needs, while looking into the future for some longer-term projects, infrastructure, and whatnot. Through that conversation, the feedback that we received was, come back with a little bit more detail surrounding the projects to really help guide the conversation for staff and council. So that is why we're here tonight. The main uses for ARPA, if you recall, there's really 5 main categories: support public health expenditures, address the negative economic impacts, replace lost revenue that so many entities saw in 2020, provide premium pay for those workers that were most at risk, and invest in water, sewer, broadband infrastructure. So with that, staff has had a few conversations regarding, a strategy on how to really tackle all of those categories and to allocate funding into each of those buckets. On the August 4th, the Finance Committee met, and we did have a conversation briefly about ARPA and the spending. At that time, the Finance Committee recommended to align this conversation prior to presenting the budget to try to, kind of help frame the 2022 budget, but also out years. So we've taken a look at that, and again, we're bringing forward recommendations for consideration to council. So on the second page of the memo, there's no presentation tonight. This is a pretty short memo that we can have some conversation about. But I'll just outline the recommendations from staff. So the first on economic impact, again, staying true to the conversation that we had July 19th as far as allocating 10% of that to support residents and businesses as we see need come forward. We're still working on identifying what exactly the need is and what other resources the community has through county, state funding sources. So that's an ongoing process, but that is an effort to assist those that were most impacted. The second category, public health. Council had a long conversation about the crisis response unit last week. So we've identified over the term of ARPA funding, $1.3 million supporting that unit in the pilot program. The next category, premium pay. That would be something that staff is working on. We've identified at a high level, identifying those workers at the city that were at most high risk, and allocating funding to support those frontline workers who were at risk throughout the pandemic, and categorizing employees and I guess job-specific into different categories to scale the amount of risk that individuals were taking. The next category, the revenue loss, we've identified 3 different projects. The revenue loss category, that's the one that we had talked about where we have to do a calculation of the amount of revenue loss that we'll be able to capture. Right now, the estimate on that is $1.4 million. So we've identified 3 projects that would fall into that category. This is the category that provides the most leeway and freedom for us. One is East 104th Avenue road improvements. The second is park playgrounds, maintenance and replacement of playground equipment specifically. There's a couple of projects specifically that were identified at Fox Run, Huron Crossing, and Alvin Thomas Parks that are in need that staff is aware of at this time. And then the police vehicles funding, this would replace 5 vehicles, police based off of the scoring that we do as far as needing replacement. In 2022, there's actually 10 vehicles in the police department that need replaced. We're able to fund 5 through the budget process, and using this funding would provide us the opportunity to fund the other 5 vehicles in that department. And then the last category, utility infrastructure, water line replacement on south, so that's South Huron specifically, of $3.5 million to replace that water line, and then of course put the road back into the appropriate condition. Water quality, this is an automated filter, I call it a system, backwash system to be more technical. This is again, our water system, long ongoing maintenance, 40-year-old valves and whatnot that need to be replaced. Help improve water quality and then our overall efficiency of water use and reduce the amount of water that the city is using in its operations of the water treatment plant. And then the last category that we have there, sewer and stormwater. We have ongoing needs for sewer line replacements and stormwater replacements. Specific projects here that are identified in that $1.1 million approximately on the stormwater side would be near the marketplace at Melody and Acoma. And there's work that needs to be done there. And then we just always have ongoing sewer needs as well. So those would all be, citywide projects that we could identify moving forward. So on the last page of the memo, the pie chart that shows the breakdown of 58% of the funding going to utility infrastructure, 24% to the public health and economic impact, 4% to premium pay, and then 14% in that revenue loss category where we'd be able to tackle a road project, the vehicles, and the parks throughout the community. So that is, staff's attempt to allocate the dollars through conversations with leadership and bring that forward to council for feedback.
Excellent, thank you. Councilmember Goff.
Thank you. I'm hoping this connection goes smoothly, but my question is the police vehicles. I was wondering, since we have the potential to use more of the funds, maybe that we had we're seeing right here in this list, if it would be possible to, or what the possibility is of having those police vehicles be electric vehicles.
I think that would be a possibility. That's not a conversation that we've had as far as replacing the police vehicles as electric vehicles. I think that we're undergoing we're in process of doing a study on evaluating our fleet and
Yes.
electric vehicles, so I think more to come on that.
All right, well, I'm just, I would like to put a bug in somebody's ear because I think that this might be a good opportunity to do that since we have, since it's possible we could use, if it's like more expensive up front, we maybe have those funds right now. So that's maybe more of a comment than a question, but thank you.
And if I can interject, Mayor, so we are in the process of going through an EV readiness study, and we can certainly look at the cost-benefit analysis of, with these 5 vehicles. I know that staff currently, when there's an opportunity to replace a vehicle in our fleet with an EV vehicle, and we can afford it, we do that. So we can take a look. I cannot guarantee that that'll be an option, but I can make a commitment to take a look and see if it's possible.
Okay. Councilmember Duran Malika?
Yeah, I had a quick question. And maybe I missed this somewhere else, but where can I find, so for example, Jason, you were talking about like the playgrounds being updated. Where's the list? Because you said it, like Fox Run and some other ones. Is that somewhere else in some other documentation that I haven't seen?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, just want to make sure I'm not missing in the packet. And when are we gonna get like a more detailed list of where the money is going for these specific projects? So like for the park playgrounds, like which parks are gonna get updated?
So the park playgrounds, I think that we would recommend now would be those three that I met.
Okay.
Al Thomas, Huron Crossing, and Fox Run.
Okay,
I think the total estimate on that, so that's been part of like long-term prioritizing of projects that hasn't come forward as part of the budget yet.
okay,
So those projects would be, first in line. It's not to say throughout this process that other parks or projects aren't prioritized, but really, again, the concept of that amount of funding, like $250,000 could be allocated to those.
okay, cool. Just looking for that list. And then, so I do appreciate that 58% of the money is going to utility infrastructure. And I see that East 104th is a road improvement. Did you guys consider any other road improvements in any of this? Just because roads do still continue to be top of mind, I think, for a lot of our residents. And although we've done a lot of work and put a lot of money towards roads to try and catch up, I think that that's an important thing to consider is, how do we continue to put money towards roads for that very reason?
Yeah, no,
I got
that's-
an earful this past week.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So we're limited to our revenue loss category
Okay.
to do road improvements, and so we're limited to the $1.4 million to do
Oh, okay.
to do projects
know. Okay.
specific to a roadway that's just a roadway project. So that's why we kind of identified 3 projects, the one road plus parks plus the vehicles to try to touch on a few different areas. There could be an allocation of the 1.4 just to roads, so we could put another $600,000 just into roads, but we are limited by the rulings of the Treasury of what we can use the money for, so that's why that's
Thank you so much.
limited there.
I appreciate it.
Uh-huh.
That's it for me, Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem Wolford?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thanks for this list, Jason. I think it's a great place to start. I have some questions around, I guess, just diving into a couple of specifics. First, on the Huron Street project, I heard you just explain that you've already kind of allocated out funding for road projects. With the Huron Street project and the water line replacement, is the replacement of Huron Street Road also included in that project? Or is it just the water line replacement?
Yeah, it would be to replace the water line and then the roadway that we're tearing up too. So it would.
Okay, I totally missed that.
So yeah,
Okay.
so since the water line is going to run the length of we would then put the roadway back to a better state.
Awesome.
So,
I think
yes.
that's absolutely fantastic.
So
And
it's, somewhat 2 road projects, I guess, if you will.
Cool.
Awesome.
Including the water line.
Okay, awesome. That is so fantastic. And I apologize if you already said that. and I was taking everything in and missed it. And then as far as, let's see, the comment that Councilmember Goff made around EVs and the police department, Boulder County's police department or sheriff's office is in the process of testing out EVs. So they might be a good sort of resource, Heather, as you're looking into different opportunities. I know that the city and county of Denver also has a Tesla in their police fleet because I've ridden in it and it's really cool. And then there's a study from a police department, I believe in Illinois. They moved their fleet over to electric vehicles and found an annual savings of approximately $11,000 per EV annually. So just another thing to kind of take into consideration and look at as you're researching. And then I am curious, I think what you've built out is a really solid list of projects and ideas. I'm wondering if there's anything that we may want to pilot around homelessness that's not included here. I feel like that's kind of one area where we're always looking for additional funding or wanting to try out something new. And I didn't know if, A, there were any ideas that staff had that we could test out here, or B, if there were any other, I guess, cities that are exploring some homelessness, I guess, pilot programs that perhaps we could partner with on a regional level to maximize, I guess, our dollars and see if there are some solutions or management that we could gain from that. And then the other question I had was on the economic impact support to residents and businesses. I'm on board. I'm just curious in terms of what does that look like? Are we looking at some additional grants to businesses? Are we looking at grants to residents? Are we trying something new? Or are we replicating what we did last year?
All of that.
Okay, that's fair.
So, yeah, I mean, it would look like a similar type of granting programs, could fall into utility assistance programs, things of that sort. I know that, you know, the state has their funding and are also standing up several programs that address, you know, rent and mortgage assistance, utility assistance. And so we're still kind of in the see what that looks like from, you know, the regional perspective. But all of those options are on the table so that we haven't identified, you know, the very specific program that we're going to do this, and this. But all of those things would fall into possibilities.
Okay, and so will you all come back to us and say these are the programs that we're thinking about for that money, or are you just going to run with it and you just run?
I think we were thinking we're going to run with it, but if council would like us to come back, we can certainly do a check-in with you and make sure that you support what we come up with. And then on the homelessness suggestions, there is a regional discussion on where Rupe and I will know more.
Heather, when we were talking about next year, general fund by, is that something?
What we did utilized the amount of money program. So in 2022 of an increased resident. So in and there's significant need. So I would proposed budget to you, you'll understand how we've allocated for the new recreation center theater, and then what we've an appropriately allocated amount. Recently had this conversation we're operating with program, but we're going to be able to complete next year's proposed is what I'm trying to say in simple. And then so we'll have another look at what other need to be prioritized for future.
Because with this particular funding, we're talking about those three through the budget. Same time, just different funding.
Right.
Sure. Over in my area, visitors over the last 2 weeks. The sidewalks are not the best. Like, because there's a nice size. Have any money to replace or
We can. Within that $1.4 million.
You just approved that. So there funds around, and I think we've added another 22. The 104th, completing that 104th, as Heather mentioned, project that does 5-year CIP plan in 3 years. So we kind of want to hold to those.
I just want to say thank you to the leadership team with a lot of options and whittled it down to stuff that our city
I just don't care. I can
Okay.
almost see it, not quite.
I will now call to order the regular city council meeting of August 23rd, 2021. City council is conducting a hybrid meeting with members of council meeting in person and participating electronically. Members of the public are invited to attend in-person meetings in council chambers. Public access to the meeting is also available by telephone by using the call-in numbers posted on the meeting agenda. Meetings are broadcast on Channel 8 for Comcast and Xfinity subscribers and on the city's YouTube channel online. All callers will be muted and may only comment during the times allotted for public comment as indicated on the agenda. If you are on the phone waiting to speak to council and are also watching the meeting on YouTube or Channel 8, please know there are a couple of seconds of delay with the live stream. Please turn down your computer or TV volume as we approach the sections of the agenda reserved for public invited to be heard, so you can hear the council meeting on the phone and to prevent background noise when you are unmuted to speak. Those calling in and wishing to speak to council may text 303-450-8757 to sign up to provide public comment. Please note that you must connect to the city council meeting by calling the separate call-in number listed on the agenda. Thank you for following these directions and for maintaining meeting decorum tonight. Joanna, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Lighty,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford,
Here.
Councilmember Whitkovich.
Here.
Councilmember Peterson will be absent. Councilmember Downing,
Here.
Councilmember Brown,
Here.
Councilmember Goff,
Here.
Councilmember Duran Malika,
Here.
Councilmember Lukeman Hiromasa.
Here. Please stand as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Manager Guyer, do we have any responses to citizen inquiry?
Yes, Mayor. This evening, I'd like to invite Rupa Venkatesh, our Assistant to the City Manager, up to share with council and the public 2 meetings that are happening this week of public interest.
Great,
Thanks.
thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. We have a couple of community listening sessions happening this week. The first is this Tuesday regarding community policing. Over the course of the last several months, Barry Dunn has facilitated a series of community listening sessions to help inform the police department's internal strategic planning process, as well as the Community Co-Production Policing Advisory Board and their work plan. So tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here in council chambers, Barry Dunn will share what they have learned with our community and ask for feedback, and that meeting is in person only. And then this Thursday at 6 p.m. at Good Shepherd Presbyterian Church, which is at 10785 Melody Drive, the Homelessness Community Task Force will lead a collaborative discussion with our community on the challenges and concerns we face regarding homelessness. And we'll share some recommendations and ask for feedback from the community, as well as ask the community to collaboratively come up with potential solutions. And just a update, there are no active applications on safe parking lots or anything like that. This is just to have a conversation with our community on homelessness, what our community is seeing as concerns, share some recommendations that the task force has, as well as talk with our residents on what they would like to see as potential solutions. Thanks.
Can I ask you a question? I didn't get to my race.
Yeah, go ahead.
Rupa, what was the decision-making process for tomorrow night's meeting that it's not gonna be available on the web either?
So the reason why it's not available on the web is because I don't think that having the virtual hybrid option in this room as like a roundtable discussion, I don't think the audio, you would be able to hear a lot of that.
I just would like to comment that I think that it really should have been an audio call also. I know that you're saying that the audio isn't, they wouldn't be able to hear. If we could expand upon that and make it happen. Because there are people who are still not
comfortable.
Yeah, they're still not comfortable being in large crowds or, you know, big crowds or 6 feet from their neighbor, like, you know, so I'm a little disappointed to find out that there is no other way to listen to or view this.
And thank you for that feedback, Councilmember Brown. We'll talk with Bob and IT and see if there's any way to create an option tomorrow. This room is challenging, and I think we had some challenge just with available spaces, so that's why we landed in this room. But we'll take another look and see if we can do anything for tomorrow and keep that in mind for future.
This is just such an important topic that I think that, and what we found, I believe, was that more people were actually listening to city council or, you know, going in and at least viewing it because they had that option, you know? Just for future.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
Nope.
All right, this is the fun part. Oh, and we have guests. I'm so excited. So good to see you all. We are here for the August Beautification Awards and Most Magnificent Tree. So Jenny Murphy, our Community Outreach Coordinator, is here. Hello.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Thank you for having me tonight. We have many of our recipients this evening that did not feel comfortable coming, but we have some that did come, so we're happy to have that hybrid option tonight. Okay, I'm going to turn the power on.
Is it just the side button? Can I see the remote?
And away we go. All right. Okay, neighborhood beautification, August already. This is the last month. And we also add our Most Magnificent Tree Award tonight. So our first family received the Waterwise Yard of the Month, the Albrook family at 364 West 99th Avenue. And I should have asked you all to come down first. I apologize, I'm not used to doing this in person. Could we do that, or would you rather?
I think what we had talked about, and maybe
Okay.
it was just in my head, I'm
Sure.
not quite sure I said the words out loud.
Okay.
Was if you do the presentation, then
Perfect.
we can come down. And so hopefully, if you're in
That's
one of
great.
the first few homes that celebrated, don't sneak away.
Okay.
And we'd love to take a photo with you before you leave.
That's perfect. Next, we have Yard of the Month winners, Henry and Beverly Biela at 9606 Pellin Drive. Yard of the Month winners, Dan and Jerry Burgett at 10565 Carmela Lane. Waterwise Yard of the Month, and you'll notice, you might remember in your packet, we originally had this just as Yard of the Month, which it could be also, but it is a Waterwise Yard, so I wanted to point that out. 10543 Sperry Street. Another Waterwise Yard of the Month, Tom and Marie Cardenas at 2140 Phillips Drive. Yard of the Month winner, Deanna Cervantes at 10955 Alvin Drive. Another beautiful Yard of the Month, which is Jerry and Andrea Downs at 1849 East 117th Court. It's like a golf course. And no coincidence, but this is actually the parents of the first nomination in a totally different area though. And it's Florence and Jerry Downs at 1463 West 100th Place. think his son learned well from his dad.
Yeah.
Yard of the Month winners Tim and Debbie Eckert at 1943 Fisher Way. Waterwise Yard of the Month winners Shirley Erickson and Sheila Shakely at 243 East 111th Place. Waterwise Yard goes to Ronald Humphreys at 10780 Acoma Street. Another beautiful Waterwise Yard belongs to Ken and Diane Mahoney at 10975 Manette Way. Yard of the Month winner Maria Morphin at 11072 Clayton Street. Yard of the Month winners Ruth and Donald Powers at 10883 Northglenn Drive. Yard of the Month winners Sharon Tillery, Denise, and Stephen Reyes at 10563 Adams Street. Yard of the Month winner Daniel Sanchez at 11946 East 119th Place. And that ends our beautification awards. Would you like to have me do the trees first or this portion first?
No, let's come down and we'll
Okay,
do it.
great, great.
Thank you, sorry. Yeah, do bunny ears? No, I'm good with that, but I don't want to get anybody sick. Yeah, I don't want to risk getting anybody sick, no, just in case. You're welcome, you're welcome. You, I will get sick. The mayor, I will get sick.
Okay, so we have the recipients in the front row, that's great.
Okay. Oh, Becky in the back, okay.
Becky in the back with the good hair.
I think I can get everybody right there, I'll.
Dominating.
Are you raising?
I'm right here.
Yeah, I'm feeling second guessing.
Okay, is everybody ready? Say cheese. Cheese. Say green grass.
Green grass.
All right, one of those should work, thank you very much. Congratulations, you guys.
Your yards are beautiful.
If you would come this way and I'll get your certificate and your yard sign.
Yeah, I just
Would that work?
don't want to get anybody sick, you know what I mean?
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Right here.
Does it make you uncomfortable?
No.
I only wanted to cough on Corey, you know?
Wanted to call on you.
Okay, we'll go ahead with our magnificent tree winner. And I don't think they were able to attend this evening. This tree, we don't have a lot of history on it because the recipients actually just bought the home 2 years ago. But it can be seen from where it lives clear over on Washington Street, and it's absolutely perfect. So drum roll, here it is.
Wow.
Beautiful. And that is our state tree, and it's owned now by Robert Gourlay and Anthony Nunez. And it is a blue spruce. It's our state tree, like I said, and it lives at 10704 Downing Street. And they will receive this beautiful sign, which I'm sure they'll hang on their tree, because most people do. And our sign shop made this.
Beautiful.
And on one of the branches. And then they also receive a $100 credit on their water bill.
Wow.
So they can get their.
Gotta get out and fertilize my tree.
And then this year, we had just a lovely story submitted to us, and we wanted to recognize this special tree, and we're calling it the most inspirational tree story. So it belongs to Rachel and Steve Hudson, and they live at 10552 Brewer Drive. And I'll read just a little bit of the letter, and then we can call them up and have them share. But Rachel writes, every year I take a picture of our tree as a reminder of our wedding and our beautiful life together. It's affectionately and rightfully known as our wedding tree, and it's a huge part of why we call our Northglenn house our forever home. So I'd like for Rachel and Steve to come up, please.
And Jenny, I hear Rachel has a poem she wants to share. Well, it's the completion of
Yes.
that, so I thought you'd like to hear it. Okay. Oh, sure, okay, hi. So I'm Rachel, this is Steve. Hi. So this is was our submission for Magnificent Tree, which by the way, that's a good call, so congratulations. So I'll read it to you. My name is Rachel Hudson. My husband and I live on 10552 Brewer Drive. And I may cry because I love reading this story. And I'm also pregnant, so that'll probably factor into some of this. Okay. I know there are many magnificent trees in Northglenn, and we are fortunate to live in an established neighborhood with tons of big, bountiful trees towering over our modest homes. But our big ash tree in our backyard has a ton of special forever meaning to my husband and I. We moved into our Northland home in April of 2014. In October of that year, we were married. My uncle married us, my mom walked me down the aisle, and Steve's daughter presided as my maid of honor, all under the watchful eye of our golden leaves of our ash tree. Every year, I take a picture of our tree as a reminder of our wedding and our beautiful life together. It's affectionately and rightfully known as our wedding tree. And it's a huge part of why we call Northland our house our forever home. Last year, after many seasons of drought and rough winds, our tree got sick. It started to lose, It started to lose branches, and the beautiful leaves remained bare and sickly. A few tree services recommended we cut it down. Gasp. This spring, after many visits from arborists and tree trimmers, our wedding tree is on the mend. The leaves are vibrant green, and the sickly branches are making their way back to their former glory. If perhaps a coincidence about new life, Steve and I are expecting a child in January of 2022. We can't wait to raise our child under the watchful eye of its golden leaves and healthy branches for many seasons to come. Please consider our version of a magnificent tree for the 2021 award season.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thank you so much.
on making it through the whole story, though. You did really good.
All right, we'll have you guys stand up there. You want to hold your certificate? You want to use this one? Sure. All right, there we go.
I'm
Sorry, I didn't think about that.
Oh, it's good.
All right, everybody smile. All right, good. Everybody say tearjerker.
Tearjerker.
All right, one of those should work. Thank you.
We expect to see the baby. They'll have to come back. I am not contagious.
I'm sitting right next to you.
Really, I do not want to hear from any of you.
I know, I'm just giving you a hard time.
I'm in week 3. How do you do it?
Oh, it's very fun. Do you take it? Surprise.
That was fun. A little scary, but fun.
All right. Well, thanks again for being here. We are going to move into public invited to be heard. 5 minutes per speaker. This is an opportunity for public comment. Do we have anyone signed up to speak to council tonight?
Nobody signed up in advance, but I do have a couple voicemails.
Okay. Why don't you start with that?
Okay.
For public to be invited. Thank you. City of Northland Council. This is your friendly Mark Bromley for Ward 3. Chiming in and just wanted to mention some issues first in the city that some residents on Huron concerned on the city fence blowing down and that some of the maintenance spray painting the fence and should be concerned about not painting their pets who get too close to the fence. For some reason, the residents didn't feel safe calling the city, so they told me about it. And I was also asked by a resident about reopening Melody Drive on the north side of 112. They work for emergency, and they need a through traffic, as they had concerns with Huron's project coming up that could cause massive traffic problems, and they thought we need a better alternative route on this side of the highway. Another neighbor was concerned with high weeds on the city property that connects to their backyard in the neighborhood of 112th Church, where the auxiliary drainage for the overpass 112th is, and they would like to see those weeds cut down. But that's the only concerns I ran into. And other than that, it's interesting to see that the current going on to the Northland Civic Plan, the cost of over $54.5 million for a community center that we could have got for much less after being better informed from a past council member. Looking forward to the opening and was wondering if candidates will be invited for the 3 days of activities. That would be nice. I do have several opinions on the use of the American Recovery Fund Acts and the city of Northland, and I was curious and dubious if we need $1.3 million spent on an experimental program for 3 years for the crisis response unit, or would that be better to increase law enforcement to cut down on the negative press that Northland is in the top highest crime rate cities? I don't see how the CRU is any different than a middleman that refers people to state and county social service programs. Seems a little redundant. So could we put that in law enforcement activities to cut down on the crime rate? I also see city hall tours on the list. I like to do it, but maybe instead of September 11th, could we talk them into September 10th or September 12th, as there are many obligations on 9/11 commemoration and possible speaking opportunities on the 11th to pay a moment of silence to those who died because of terrorism related to Afghanistan, and is a solemn day of remembrance for a day we should never forget. Thank you, City Council, for listening to me. This is Mark Bromley for Ward 3, signing off. Hi, this is my comment for CR 81 IGA Northland and CDOT agreement. Hello, City Council. This is Mark Bromley for Ward 3. I will like to mention there are issues with street crossing lighting at E.B. Rains Park and other parks for pedestrian use throughout Northland that seriously needs to be addressed, as we need better lighting that is better visible to motorists to stop at crossings with pedestrians and bicyclists. We also need better access to manual controls at some locations are awkward for pedestrians and people on bicycles to use. I would also like to mention 104th Crossing along Northland Mall continues to switch too quickly, allowing cars to have a green light before pedestrians walking can get to the median. Not only that, many crosswalk medians are not designed safely for waiting pedestrians and provide little safety margins for moving traffic. I think a review and evaluation and rebuilding and timing of the run signals, as I call them, because you can't walk across this intersection, you gotta run, needs to be done, and pedestrian and bike safety needs to be addressed, as the street along with Huron Street is a key school zone with many pedestrians, is not helpful to ADA pedestrians, such as individuals in wheelchairs. And I have witnessed many problems with persons needing mobility assistance, needing police to direct traffic, as they are often caught or trapped because the walk signals are run signals and they cannot run. Really, how much of an Olympic running champion do you have to be to cross 104th by the outdoor mall? If any of this bill can help fix these conditions, that would be nice. Thank you, City Council.
And Madam Mayor, I would like to note that Mr. Bromley also left 2 other voicemails, one regarding CR 83, which is the heavy truck permit fee, and one regarding CR 91, which is the intergovernmental agreement for judicial and legal services, but those would exceed the 5-minute allowing for public invited to be heard.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone in the audience who didn't get a chance to sign up that would like to speak? Come on up. Please state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Ruth Bunniger Powers, and I live at 10883 Northglenn Drive. And a lot of my neighbors and I are concerned about people driving too fast down Northland Drive. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour. And there are no stop signs, 4-way stops, nothing there on that street. And we have people coming down the street at 50 miles an hour and going into the cul-de-sac and spinning around and going back out again. And there's children in that neighborhood, and the parents aren't even letting the children be out front at all because they're worried about people coming down too fast. I back into my driveway so I can pull out instead of backing out because it's just too dangerous. We did have a bicycle come and hit our car one time coming down the hill, so he was going pretty fast too on the bicycle. And I'm proposing that we get some speed bumps or install some kind of speed bumps like they have, say, on Muriel and some of the other streets. So that's just a sidebar, and thank you so much for acknowledging my yard. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Diana, would you be willing to speak with her privately about our No Need for Speed program?
I would. Our group will, one of us will.
Okay, fantastic. So make sure they get your contact information, and that should help out. Anyone else? No? Okay. All right, moving into communications. We don't have a legislative policy committee update? Not this time? All right. We will start with Ward 1, Councilmember Whitkovich.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things that I wanted to mention this evening. I wanted to say thank you to the police department and CPAN for the shred event that happened on Saturday. I was really happy to get rid of 3 very large bags of stuff that I've been hanging on to. So thank you so much for that event. Back on August 10th, I attended the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. And so the commission is still considering whether or not they're going to go for local designation or the National Register for the Deza Estates neighborhood. So it's really exciting what's happening, and I look forward to seeing what they decide. So we'll have more on that at our meeting next month. Also, on August 12th, I attended the Parks and Recreation Board meeting. And a couple things I wanted to mention. We didn't receive an objection or more proposals, but there was a suggestion for different names for the Justice Center West Park, including our very own Joyce Downing. So I don't think they were official suggestions, but there was some communication about that. It's also kind of exciting. The board is going to consider revising some of their documents, like park publications and policies and procedures, to be gender neutral. So that's going to come up at our next meeting. So that's kind of exciting as well. And then finally, I attended the North Metro Fire Rescue Board meeting on August 17th. Those meetings are now starting at 4 o'clock, which is becoming a little difficult for me, but thankfully they do still have the virtual option, so that's how I've been attending. But we had another round of promotees attend the meeting, and so that they've all been promoted over the last year, so they got to be recognized in person. So I'm really sorry I don't get to go to those meetings in person, but it's still really great to see. And that's all I've got for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Downing?
Thank you, Mary. I'm good. I don't have anything this evening.
Okay. Councilmember Brown?
I actually don't have anything either. I had to cancel all my events over the last 3 weeks, so I have nothing.
Councilmember Duran Mulligan?
Sure, I just have one quick update. There is going to be a Ward 3 meeting, August 28th at 1 p.m. at Taziki's Mediterranean Cafe. So we figured it'd be a great way to support a local business and get to chat with some neighbors. So join us. That'd be great.
Nice. Councilmember Luqman Hiramasa?
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Excuse me.
On
Oh, geez, I totally forgot. Sorry, you're in this little box.
Are you there?
I know.
Councilmember
I'm
Goff?
sorry.
I was
Thank you very
looking,
much,
there was
Mayor.
nobody there.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to, I've got three things that I was involved with in the last week. And on August, or since we last met, August 11th, I attended a town hall at the Adams County Governmental Building that was where we were able to listen to our district attorney, Phil Weiser, talk about the opioid settlement fund. We have some options that we'll be discussing. I'm sure sometime soon we have some time to figure out what to do about that. And then on August 12th, CC4CA hosted a meeting with our Congressman Ed Perlmutter to discuss climate legislation, and we just kind of touched base with him and heard what kind of things he's working on. And then on August 17th, the Diversity, Inclusivity, and Social Equity Board met, and we are beginning to plan a presentation to City Council. I can't remember if it's November or December, but that will be coming up here before we know it. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Luqman Hiramasa?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple of updates. I attended first liaison board meetings. One was for Adams 12, Board of Education on the 18th. And of course, the beginning of the discussions were about the mask mandate from Tri-County Health. So there was a lot of discussion about that and public comments. And then other than that, it was pretty much just talking about how they're going to make this the best year for the children as best as possible. It was very interesting to see that there's still a lot of kids attending online school, and a disproportionate amount of those kids are Hispanic, so they were looking into the why that is. There's a couple of shout outs to Northland at the meeting. They shouted out to City of Northland for their support during the summer. Their Summer Explorers program apparently was a big hit, and Northland helped them with space and whatnot during the pandemic. And then a shout out to the kids at Malley Drive as well, elementary. They were on the video and talking about their experience during the summer program, so that was really neat. I also attended the Northland Senior Organization meeting today, and those guys are a hoot. That was a great meeting. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed meeting them, and discussions were just about upcoming activities and, of course, the excitement around the new recreation center, which is opening, and the new facility for the seniors. And then also a shout out to vote for Corella DeBille, apparently, for the Rotary Duck Race. Northland PD is winning that, so the seniors would like your help if you want to vote for Corella DeBille and raise some money in that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem and Assistant.
And Assistant. Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of updates from me. First, on the CC4CA front, Colorado Communities for Climate Action, I joined the meeting with Councilmember Goff and Congressmember Perlmutter to talk about the upcoming infrastructure bill in front of Congress and climate action components that they could consider. Additionally, I participated in public comment for the Air Quality Control Commission. They were having a rulemaking on regional haze. So as folks look out towards the Denver skyline, you see a lot of brown clouds, you see Unfortunately, you probably can't see the Denver skyline, and a lot of that has to do with haze, as well as the wildfire smoke that's been coming in from California that makes it difficult to breathe. So provided some public comment there, really urging the AQCC to take action and develop rules so that we can all breathe a little bit easier. Additionally, I participated in public comment at the Colorado Department of Transportation's transportation directors meeting. I may have messed that up. They're in a process of rulemaking, trying to determine how they're going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions related to transportation projects, and really encouraging them to take swift action there. As you all know, and I've said a million times, and I'm going to keep saying a million times, I-25 cuts through the heart of our city, and all of that traffic pollution certainly weighs on all of our residents as well. And then otherwise, again, just want to encourage folks to join us on Thursday at Good Shepherd Presbyterian Church for that conversation about homelessness. Bring your ideas for how you think we can better manage the problem, and how we can come together as a community. And then the last item I just wanted to highlight is that our mosque, the Metro Denver North Islamic Center, at 11141 Irma Drive, is collecting donations for incoming refugees from Afghanistan. They're accepting donations on Wednesday at 10 a.m., Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And in particular, they're looking for new or gently used items, including diapers, baby wipes, strollers, car seats, other baby items, kitchen items, dinnerware, linens, preferably for queen-size beds, towels, toiletries, socks, new underwear, kids' shoes, and school supplies. And they're not accepting clothing at this time, but anything that you're able to drop off will certainly go to good use with a number of families resettling in the area. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Jenny, could you repeat the dates that they'll be accepting?
Yes, so drop-off days are Wednesdays at 10 a.m. or Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it doesn't look like they're planning on stopping that for the time being, so it's just kind of general.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Okay, I have just a couple things. Huge celebration, if you hadn't already heard, the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine. So if that's something that was postponing your choice, you may want to consider it. It's a huge celebration, so hopefully we can continue to get more and more people vaccinated so we can stay healthy. And then just another plug for back to school season. I said this last week, and it was part of my Mayor's Monthly Minute video, but it's something I'm very passionate about, as is, I know, our police department. School safety regarding traffic is huge. So if you can slow down, I know we all get very, very busy, and we're trying to get places on time, but we need to slow down, especially around our schools, and we need to follow all of those crazy carpool procedures that schools have. I know, because I have one too. We all have to drive in the right way and drive out the right way and stay off our phones and really stay present so that our kids stay safe. So just another plug for that. And then Pirate Fest is coming up in just a few short weeks. And because we are back open, we would like to invite people to come. So it is in mid-September. You will see lots of information about it in the connection and on our website. But it's an event that our residents have been anticipating. So don't forget that one. And that is all I have. City Manager Guyer?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I wanted to let you know that I'm in communication with Isan at the North Denver Mosque, and as well as the International Rescue Committee. They're an organization that had reached out to the city well over a year ago to see how we could partner in support of refugees that come to Northglenn. So as I get information in terms of exactly how many and what else we can do beyond what Mayor Pro Tem shared in terms of the mosque's efforts to fundraise and collect donations, I'll be sure to communicate that with City Council. And then I am going to ask Amanda, I was just about to send you a text to see if you could do a brief highlight of our rec center grand opening festivities that are on the horizon. Sorry I didn't get that text to you quick enough. I thought the mayor was going to start with Joanna or Corey.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. A brief update, and I'll cover a little more for Council when I do the update at the end of the meeting. But we are so excited to be ready to open the facility and looking forward to inviting the public in. So for those who are listening, on Saturday, October 9th, we will have a public grand opening with lots of activities happening throughout the entire building. We will have live music, we will have food trucks, we will have fireworks to conclude the day. So it should be a lot of fun, and really looking forward to seeing everybody come out in person to celebrate the opening, get to use the facility for the first time, and be able to see all that it will have to offer in the years to come.
Thanks, Amanda.
You're welcome.
That's all, Mayor.
Great, thank you. City Clerk Small,
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
City Attorney, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one quick item, in part triggered by something Councilmember Witkovich said. One of the long-term projects I've been working on is an ordinance ultimately making the Northglenn Municipal Code in its entirety gender neutral. And the light at the end of the tunnel, we're almost done with that and hope to bring it forward to you in the very near future. So that is definitely a work in progress that's almost completed.
Thank you.
Sure. Does that differ from what we had on the ballot last year? I just want to clarify.
Yeah, so what was on the ballot last year required voter approval, which is making the charter gender neutral. However, you have the authority by ordinance to make the code gender neutral, so that it would not require voter approval.
Thank you for sharing that information.
Certainly.
Okay, moving into the consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second. Please open the vote.
We vote.
The vote is open. I ask Councilmember Goff for her vote as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, you went through this, it's crazy. I thought we went through this. It was, same thing happened to me. No, it's good.
I should take a refresher course.
We did.
No, I wasn't here.
I will close that vote and the consent agenda passes unanimously.
Okay. Public hearing, CB 1975. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A bill for an ordinance amending Chapter 11 of the Northglenn Municipal Code, amending various sections of the Unified Development Ordinance.
Move for approval.
Second. There we go. I will now open the public hearing on CB 1975. Joanna, did we have any comments received prior to tonight's meeting?
No, I have not received any comments.
Is anyone signed up to speak? As they all leave. Okay, no.
It's bad news for me.
Oh, okay. Is there anyone on the phone who would like to speak either for or against CB 1975? You can unmute yourself by pressing *6. I don't see anybody. Okay. Is that really it? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. All right.
Look at you go.
Good. Okay, so CB 1975 on second reading. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Question. City Clerk Small, just really quickly. The script says first reading, but it's under second reading. Can you just?
Apology. Yep, it's second reading.
It's second reading, okay. Eric, do you want to, our senior planner, do you want to present briefly?
Sure.
Good to see you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. We have this evening some modifications to the UDO that we're presenting to you on second reading. Just for some background information for the public who may be listening, the UDO was originally adopted in February of 2019. It, at that point, combined zoning, subdivision, and sign regulations all into one document. Amendment 1 was approved back in October of 2019, so we've already done one round of these. We began the process of this back in 2020 with a number of planning commission study sessions and ultimately their final review and recommendation as of June 29th of this year. Staff presented the UDO, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not moving forward here. Staff did present the Planning Commission's recommendation on the UDO to council on July 19th. First reading was scheduled and approved on August 9th before council, and tonight is second reading and the public hearing. I'm going to go real quickly into some of the changes being proposed as part of the amendment package here being presented to you this evening. First of all, enforcement provisions. What this will do is add language to clarify who can be issued a violation, and this is old language that was omitted accidentally. Accessory structure height, this will require accessory structures that are greater than 12 feet in height and under 200 square feet to obtain a building permit. So those higher structures will require a building permit. Outdoor storage, it does allow for certain outdoor storage to exceed the height of fence that it screens, especially in and only in industrial zone districts. Height of ADUs, we're proposing to remove the language restricting ADU height to that of the primary structure, and instead the height will be the same as all accessory structures in the zone district. Parking standards for auto wash facilities, this is a new standard for drive-through auto wash facilities that isn't in the code, so it would be one space per employee. Compact parking spaces, this is a clarification of the size of compact parking spaces, basically between 8 and 9 feet in width and 15 and 19 feet in length for those compact spaces. Screening of mechanical units, this was omitted from the code as well accidentally. So basically it's clarification that if you do replace an RTU or a rooftop mechanical equipment in a commercial or non-residential zone district, that you will be required to bring that, screen that mechanical equipment. And then site area landscaping materials, this is a clarification of what is applicable to existing single-family attached and detached residential. Basically, it's language clarifying what constitutes live ground cover, which includes turf, shrubs, ornamental grasses, perennial flowers, and artificial turf in this case. And then the measurement of that is at full maturity of the plant itself. Anything not considered rock or mulch areas are required to be live ground cover. Calculation of fence height. This calculation basically is whenever a fence is on a berm or a wall, it is limiting the height of that fence to the height of the combined berm and wall when within 6 feet of the top of that berm or wall. Also fabric membrane fences. This specifically allows for certain types of fabric membrane fences that are intended for fencing material in industrial zone districts. Shipping and shipping containers or Connex boxes. This is clarification language here. They can only be used as accessory structures in industrial or public facilities districts when screened. In other non-residential districts, they can be considered as architectural features, but cannot be used for storage on those non-residential parcels, and still cannot be used in residential. Parking lot lighting, this is a clarification here, basically that light poles in residential or adjacent to residential are limited to 25 feet in height. All other non-residential poles are 30 feet in height. So if approved this evening, these modifications will go into effect in accordance with the provisions outlined in the ordinance you're considering this evening. Any questions?
Do not see any hands. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, your vote?
Yes.
Thank you. I will close that vote, and CB 1975 on second reading passes unanimously.
Okay, moving into resolutions, CR 74. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A resolution appointing deputy municipal judges of the city of Northglenn, Colorado.
Move for approval. Municipal Judge Amanda Balehash is here to provide a summary. Good evening, Judge.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. As my memo explained, and as most of you know, because you were here when you appointed me, you appointed Catherine Kurtz to be the deputy municipal judge. She found a home with the city of Arvada. She was appointed to be their full-time municipal judge, and so she's no longer available to work here in case of emergency or basically in cases of emergency. So I'm asking council to appoint 3 different deputy judges. I found over the pandemic, which was the only time that I needed coverage, it's usually a day before because my kid came home from being exposed to COVID and then I was scrambling to find people. So these 3 judges are all experienced municipal judges. Randall Davis actually was a county court state judge after he retired for Broomfield. Then he was Broomfield's presiding municipal judge, and he just recently retired from Broomfield. He actually did cover for me one of the times when I was quarantined, and I found his rulings and orders to be consistent with my philosophy. Michael Goodby is actually a Northland resident. He was a district court judge for Adams County for many, many years. He also served as a district attorney in Adams County. He is now the presiding municipal judge for the city of Golden. And then Michelle Klein is also an experienced municipal judge. She is presiding somewhere in the Eastern Plains, and of course right now it is escaping me. She's also a relief judge for Westminster, and she actually works. Our city prosecutor is the prosecutor in her jurisdiction in the Eastern Plains, so there's familiarity between Judge Klein and the city prosecutor. And so I think that these 3 judges are qualified and would be consistent with the way that I hold court. And so I'm asking City Council to approve all 3 of them. And then also noted in my memo, I found that sometimes I might only need a half a day coverage. And so it makes sense to not pay somebody who's not working a full day. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
Having 3, I could see would make sense if the person that was subbing couldn't do it. Do you have a priority? Is there a ranking? Is there a rotation?
My thought was to do a rotation and just kind of go through just to keep it fair.
Okay. Alphabetical or?
I guess we could go alphabetical. So Judge Davis covered last, so I guess Judge Goodby would next, and then Judge Klein would be up after that. I know I might also be putting the cart before the horse, but we also have to replace Judge Kurtz because she was the hearing officer for code violations. And so Tom Carlson is interested in seeing if one of these judges could work as a hearing officer also. So we take that into consideration also. So if the hearing officer worked last month, then maybe I'd jump them to just kind of keep it a fair rotation.
Any other questions from council? No? Okay. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll close that vote, and CR 74 passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, CR 80. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A resolution setting lab service fees for the water treatment plant.
Move to approval. Second. All right, our Director of Public Works, Kent Kisselman, is here to provide a summary. Hello.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Thank you for having me. Periodically, we want to look at our fees that we charge for services, and our water treatment plant lab is a certified lab. So outside sources bring in their tests for us to certify, and then we send those out. So one of the things that we looked at recently was the total chloroform. And you can see on the front page of your memo, the kind of the current prices for our surrounding areas. Currently, ours was $14. So we're recommending a raise or an increase in that rate to $20 effective September 1st, 2021. And staff recommends approval of this resolution as presented. And I'll answer any questions.
Questions or comments from council? Okay, thank you. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
I'll close that vote, and CR 80 passes unanimously.
CR 81. Joanna, will you please read the title?
A resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Northglenn and the State of Colorado, acting by and through the Colorado Department of Transportation regarding funding for the Connect Northglenn Multimodal Improvements Project.
Move for approval. Second.
Hello.
So yes, this one is our grant for our Connect Northglenn that we continue to work through, and you're very familiar with what this requires, Mayor, as you get the emails for the signature. So this is the approval of the IGA, and we still have to get those environmental and utility clearances before we can move forward, but I believe that we'll get those this fall and then be able to start this project next year. And again, some of the highlights of the project, it'll be a $700,000 total project. It'll be the roadway improvement, striping, bike lanes, Charo, the multimodal stuff, additional flashing signs in some areas. We covered a lot of those on the June 21st meeting, so a really good project, excited to get that started. And it's just working through the process. So we recommend approval of this resolution as presented, and I'll answer any questions.
See any questions from council? I do have one. So if this passes, then I sign the document they send me every day at 2 a.m. Okay. Just checking.
I wanted to put this on 2 weeks ago, but the agenda was full, so.
It's okay.
14 more days.
It's okay. I just feel bad for ignoring her for weeks. Okay. Will you open the vote, please?
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. I will close that vote, and CR 81 passes unanimously.
All right. Thank you. CR 83. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A resolution setting a permit fee for oversized or overweight vehicles and loads pursuant to Section 7-6-2 of the Northglenn Municipal Code.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so if you'll recall, it was maybe 6 or 8 months ago, I believe, we did the heavy truck route, and we installed all those signs. So all the signs have been installed. We have the permit process in place. We just didn't have a fee associated with that. And so this is just amending or providing a resolution to allow us to charge a $25 fee for a oversized permit vehicle. And they're rare. I don't even think we've had one yet this year. So, but we do want to be able to set that in accordance so we can charge when it does come up. And I recommend approval of this resolution as presented, and I'll answer any questions.
Don't see any hands. Joanna, please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. I'll close that vote, and CR 83 passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, CR 91. Joanna, will you read the title, please?
A resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Northglenn and the City of Westminster for judicial and legal services.
Motion to approve.
Second. All right, our city attorney, Corey Hoffman, will provide a summary.
Good evening again, Madam Mayor, members of council. This is one of those intergovernmental agreements I sincerely hope we don't have to use. However, what it does is, as you know, both the municipal judge and I are council appointees. in the unlikely event that one of you or a member of your family were a defendant, hopefully never, a victim, hopefully never, or a witness in any case appearing in front of the Northglenn Municipal Court, we need the opportunity to have another court essentially act on those cases. And so what this intergovernmental agreement does is it allows us to use Westminster and Westminster to use Northglenn if those events occur where either the judge, the prosecutor, or both can't serve because of a conflict. There are a number of communities that have this kind of arrangement in the northern tier of the state. For example, I know that Greeley and Fort Collins have a similar type of arrangement. And it's one of those things to have in place just in case. We've actually been working on this, I think, since pre-pandemic, but finally got it to a place where we can absolutely recommend approval to you.
Well, I want to say thank you, and also thank you to the city of Westminster. It has been about 1.5 years, and it's nice to know that we finally have it, so there's a plan. Yeah.
And it's on Westminster's agenda tonight as well.
Yeah, and I feel like I should thank former Mayor Herb Atchison, because this was something that he had a conversation with me about when it was necessary. So it was just a very, very kind thing, very collaborative thing. Regional partnerships are awesome. So thank you. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
I will close that vote, and CR 91 passes unanimously.
I will now recess the regular city council meeting and call to order a meeting of the Marijuana Licensing Authority. Joanna, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Leidy?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilford?
Here.
Councilmember Whitkovich?
Here.
Councilmember Peterson is absent. Councilmember Downing?
Here.
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Goff?
Here.
Councilmember Duran Mollica?
Here.
Councilmember Lukeman Hiramasa?
Here.
All right, we'll start with the approval of minutes from August 9th. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Again, I'm confused. I think we're good. It says January 27th.
Oh, I apologize.
Okay.
It's August 9th.
It's August 9th.
2021. Yep.
Those are the minutes we're approving. Fantastic. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
I'll close that vote, and the motion to approve the August 9th, 2021 meeting minutes passes unanimously.
Great. So we have new marijuana business license application for Discrete Greens. Joanna Small, our city clerk, will provide a summary of this item.
Good evening, Mayor, or authority members. The city clerk's office received a complete application for a new retail marijuana business license from Discrete Greens LLC for the proposed development at 12170 Claude Court for a retail marijuana store. So the license would allow for the sale of retail marijuana and retail marijuana infused products to customers over 21 years of age for consumption off premises. Staff has investigated the application and prepared a preliminary findings report. The preliminary findings are included in the packet, and they contain information regarding the marijuana business requirements and the eligibility of the applicant to operate a marijuana business in the city at that proposed location. So tonight, staff is asking the authority to set a public hearing on the new license application and to issue the preliminary findings report to the applicant and other parties in interest. The applicant will be present at the public hearing to provide information. They are required to make a showing with affirmative evidence that approval of the application will result in no demonstrable negative impacts on the neighborhood. And at the public hearing, the authority will have the opportunity to ask the applicant questions about the application. So staff recommends the public hearing be set for September 27th, 2021, and that the preliminary findings be issued on behalf of the authority.
Okay. So we need a motion, but here's some sample language. So I may say it, and then maybe just someone could say, so moved, read the sentence. It says, I move to set a public hearing for September 27th, 2021 at 7 PM, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be heard on the application for a new retail marijuana business license filed by Discrete Greens LLC, doing business as Discrete Greens, and to issue the preliminary findings report to the applicant and other parties in interest.
So moved.
Second. Hold on. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
I will close that vote, and the motion as stated by the mayor passes unanimously.
I will now adjourn the meeting of the Marijuana Licensing Authority and reconvene the regular city council meeting. We're moving into discussion items. The first one is our Northland Civic Center Phase 1 Implementation August Update. Amanda Peterson, our Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, is here. Hello.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. So this is the last update before we have an open building, which is really exciting. It feels like it's been forever since we've gotten to do this here in person. So we've got some, are we able to put the slides on the screen?
If you just advance forward, they'll be there.
See, I've forgotten how to do these things in person. There we go, look, it's like magic. So we'll start with some photos, but project remains on schedule and on budget. And really all of those final details are coming together. So as you can see, front entryway has landscaping and signage being finalized. We have, this is downstairs in the theater. I took some of the kind of behind the scenes photos. So that we've got the green room. It did have to be green. I mean, we had to stick with that theme. And things like refrigerators and appliances are starting to come into place now that weren't there when those photos were taken. We have the senior center and community room. You can see in that upper left corner, things like appliances in the catering kitchen are coming in and being placed. The gym and the locker room, I will just say this picture does not do that gym floor justice. I'm so excited for you all to see it. It's beautiful. And I don't call gym floors beautiful all that often, but it really is, I promise. So I'm excited to be able for everybody to see it. The preschool playground, you can see they were putting the port-in-place track around the farm-themed equipment, and the artificial turf that goes in the center was in place today when I went and took a look at it. So more and more happens every single day that we go out there at this point. In the pool, on the left side, we did our certification for our slide. So that's actually, I believe, Steve Hansen. I figured it was okay to show his photo because you can't tell who it is. But we tested the slide with adults and some my kids did do the test as our kid testers so that we could see how the flow rate worked with a bigger person and a smaller person. So they came in at the very end and did a quick test to make sure that flow rate was set right. And our tester or certifier said it was the second most fun slide she has been on. Second most. So I will take second. But I'm gonna have to go try out that slide that she mentioned. But everything has passed with Tri-County Health Department and certification on the slide, so the pool is nearly turned over to us. And I think that is the end of the photos this time around. So by next month, by October, you'll get to go and just see it in person, and we won't have to do it through photos anymore. Just a couple of quick notes before I turn things over. We are planning on closing our existing facility on Sunday, September 26th. That will give staff about a week and a half to get things, the final items that have to move from the old facility into the new facility, that last training that will need to be done, and they'll be able to focus on that and not try to operate one building and move into the other at the same time. So we'll have about a week and a half, just shy of 2 weeks, for that process. Some reminders on save the dates. I believe you've all received an email with information about the ribbon cutting. Ribbon cutting is an invitation-only event, but we have a pretty wide audience, similar to what we did for the groundbreaking. RSVPs are starting to come in, but if you have a moment and haven't yet, please click on that link and RSVP so we have you on the list. October 7th and 8th, you're also invited. Those are going to be our friends and family nights. So opportunity for us to invite in city staff, the project team and their extended network. And it's also an opportunity for us to give some staff a trial run with services running in the building. So we'll have 2 evenings with friends and family before we open up for the general public for our grand opening on Saturday, October 9th. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot planned that day. I'm really excited for the public to get to come in and see the space and participate in all of the fun offerings. We're working with Stephen in the special events division to put that plan together. Other than that, staff are really working very closely with the contractor and the architect to complete all the punch lists, going through, again, that little level of detail to make sure everything is just right and ready for opening, as well as all of the trainings that they are obligated to provide to all of our staff so that we know how to operate that building when they turn it over to us. We have received our temporary certificate of occupancy, which allows for furniture and things to start to be moved in. We anticipate that building will get our certificate of occupancy and it'll be turned over to the city for operations in mid-September, so a little bit before that shutdown period. Last thing I wanted to mention, we are anticipating a contract addendum with Cumming. They're our project management firm, formerly known as, oh my gosh. Thank you. For the longest time, I couldn't switch to Cumming, and now I just erased Project One from my head. So here in the next month or so, we will be bringing forward an addendum to their contract, just based on the number of hours that they've been putting into the and it does fit within the existing overall project budget. So not an expansion to the overall budget, but it is an increase to their contract. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I don't have a question about that. Heather, can that light go off?
Oh, yeah, I believe we
photography
can.
light.
That's not a bad idea.
That'd
be helpful.
Support that.
Sorry.
Oh.
You're in the spotlight.
Most definitely, and I still am, according to my eyes.
That's so funny. Well, I don't see any hands. Amanda, thank you for the update. We're all very excited.
You're welcome. Glad to see you all here and in person.
Yeah,
thank
you.
Okay, next discussion item, City Hall tours. Eric is back. Tell us all about it.
All right. Good evening again. We just wanted to have a little discussion with you this evening. When we had put this staff report out, we had heard back from only a few members of council, so we wanted to make sure that we had it on the agenda just to kind of go over a couple options that we could pursue for kind of city hall tours. We did think that the reason to do the city hall tours would give you all an idea as to kind of what some of the current trends are in city hall construction. I'll be honest with you, there aren't many out there, so our pickings are a little slim, but we also are going to add some kind of innovative office spaces to that tour as well. So the idea is just to give you guys a concept of what could be done out there and what you might want to see in the new city hall facility. So I know at this point, I believe we've got a majority of council who said September 11th does work for you. That is a Saturday. We'll still be pulling together finalizing the agenda for that, the itinerary for that meeting. If that option still works, we did point out an option B in the staff memo, which would be more of a, if people weren't comfortable going out and doing that, we could do instead more of a bring the project team in here and they could give you some examples. It wouldn't be in person and seeing those, those facilities firsthand, but we could still provide either pictures and or videos, virtually or here at the dais or something along those lines. So that's the other option that we wanted to throw out there for you. It looks like September 11th works, so maybe we'll go ahead and still proceed with that at this point. Obviously, we understand that COVID is still real, and it is still out there. And we understand, with the Delta variant, that could modify things. So we'll Heather and I will kind of keep looking at that and how we need to pursue that. If it starts getting bad towards the September 11th date, we may have to regroup that. I did want to point out, we do at this point, Susan Baca does have a coach bus scheduled for everybody to participate, to go in. One other thing to add, the leadership team has been invited to attend as well. So it would be council as well as the leadership team on that and the project team. So just so that you know who would be involved in that tour. Again, with the COVID issue, if there are people that are uncomfortable being on that bus, or if overall council feels like that is not the option they want to do, we could just have an itinerary that we give to everybody, and everybody meets at the different sites, and we go from site to site. I mean, obviously, that means everybody's going to have to drive, or a couple people can carpool, or whatever that looks like. So we just kind of wanted to get some thoughts from you all as to your comfort level, how you wanted to kind of proceed with that.
Okay. Councilmember Brown.
I'm good with option A still.
Okay.
I don't know about the coach bus yet. I'll probably follow behind in it. But, I think that, I think it's better to see rather than to watch slides and videos like
Sure.
that. It's my own personal opinion.
Okay.
I did love the addition of staff. At first reading, I thought it was just council, and then I kind of went right to, well, I'll just drive myself. But then the potential of having us together with staff and to be able to have those sort of just relaxed conversations
Agreed.
about what we saw in between in transit, really felt like valuable use of time.
Yeah, and I think it will also be helpful for the design team to hear those conversations amongst you as well as the leadership team at that.
So I've only, sorry, Mayor.
You wanted the rest of us to talk? I like option A, and I'm fine with the coach bus, and let's hang out together. It'll be fun.
Also great with option A and great carpooling via the coach bus. The bus.
I'm good with it all.
Yep.
Same here.
Great.
So Catherine, did you want to weigh in? I think she already did RSVP, right? Yeah.
She did. I have not heard from one other council member, Councilmember Peterson, who's not here this evening, so I'll follow up with him tomorrow.
All I said was I want snacks.
We'll work on that. Snacks and water, right?
Just snacks and water, all right.
We'll probably throw in lunch for you too, so. We do think, what I was gonna add is, we do think that doing this before you meet with the design team is going to be better. So thank you for your willingness to engage in this exercise, because if you meet with the design team first, you're not gonna have those points of inspiration and idea generation. So we're excited about it. So thank you for making it the Saturday commitment.
Sounds great. And to be transparent for all of our residents, we still honor September 11th as an important day. That this does not take away from that. So,
Agreed.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, public invited to be heard. Statements are limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have anyone? There's no one in the room. Is there anyone on the phone or online?
There is not.
I didn't think so. Okay. Okay. I will entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to section 4.5D of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for legal consultation and advice regarding potential litigation pursuant to section 4.5E regarding litigation, and pursuant to section 4.5A of the City of Northglenn Home Rule Charter for personnel matters regarding city appointee evaluation.
Motion to approve.
Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Councilmember Goff, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. I will close that vote, and the motion to adjourn to executive session passes unanimously.
Meeting.